Hello everyone, welcome to Faith-Wise Defenders. My name is Nathan Faust. If you like the videos on this channel, then please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more videos like these in the future, and do not forget to share this video with your friends, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the entire world and share truth with the masses, with people, educating families, fortifying their faith so that they can stand up against the culture that is heavily against Christ today. So if you like that message, then please subscribe and share these videos with all of your friends and with all of your family. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get about 1,000. We want to be able above 1,000 subscribers by the month of February. At the end of February, we want 1,000 subscribers. So we need your help in that endeavor. Is there any similarities between Osiris and Jesus? A lot of mythicists state that there is. In fact, they make such wild claims that Jesus borrowed from Osiris' story. For those of you who may or may not know, mythicists are people, or a small minority of scholars and individuals that hold the view that Jesus was a myth. There is absolutely no historical evidence for Jesus whatsoever inside the Bible or outside the Bible. They completely deny it, and they say that he was a myth fabricated by individuals. And they often use wild arguments like this, stating that people borrowed from other sources to create Jesus, this God-man, and so on and so forth. And one of the stories that they say that Christians borrowed from was the story, the myth of Osiris. They primarily look at the resurrection of Osiris and say, look, Osiris raised from the dead, so Jesus raised from the dead. Therefore, since Osiris is first, the Christians took that and used it for their God. That's what they say. And that's just foolish, my friends, my brothers and sisters. That's absolutely foolish to think that. And I'm in no way going to be attacking any of the mythicists, any of the people in particular. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to argue that that's simply not the case, and that Jesus, of course, was in fact a unique account of a man of history who was truly God and truly man. If you like this content, please like this video, subscribe, and of course share it with your friends, because I think it's absolutely necessary for us to defend the faith. We're called to do this. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15. We're called to defend the faith. And mythicists are attacking the faith on many different issues. And this is one issue that they're trying to attack, which is the originality, the authenticity of Jesus and his narrative. So, I have a slideshow for you guys today, and I hope you will enjoy it. Let's go through this together, and on this journey, Jesus versus Osiris. Now, what I want to do is I want to examine the accounts carefully. I'm going to examine the accounts point by point. Now, Osiris's account isn't really that long, so we'll be able to get through this pretty soon. Very short video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be arguing that Osiris's account is nothing like the account of Jesus. Absolutely nothing. There is nothing similar at all. And the very fact that mythicists come up with this exaggerated claim that there is bamboozling. It's absolutely bamboozling. There's nothing at all similar to their accounts. There's nothing similar at all. So, as you can see, I have differences up here. Because when I study the accounts, and I'm not trying to read the account of Osiris with bias, but when I sit down and when I try to compare the two accounts together, I see no similarities whatsoever. Let's start off with their births. Osiris's mother, Nut, was cursed from having any children. Now, apparently in the myth, Ra was able to see the future. He was able to see the future. He was the supreme deity of the Egyptian pantheon. He was able to see the future, and what he saw was any being that came from the womb of Nut would have the power to overthrow him as ruler. Overthrow him. He didn't like it. His heart burned with jealousy, with anger. So he cursed Nut's womb, the womb of Nut, so that she could not bear children any day of the year. Now, that phrase, any day of the year, I want you to kind of underline that in your mind or circle that in your mind. Any day of the year, because that is going to play a big role in this little story I'm telling. Nut was absolutely heartbroken. She couldn't have children. She expressed the feelings that the majority of women express. If they cannot have a child, what good am I? I want to have a child. I want to experience that. Love, her maternal instincts took over her. So she sought help. She went to seek help from the God of wisdom, the God of literature, the God of magic and alchemy, Thoth. And she relayed to him what happened. So Thoth began to devise a very clever scheme, a very clever idea. He met with Khonsu, the moon god, and he engaged the moon god Khonsu in a game of checkers. And the deal was, every single time Thoth would win, he would get a portion of Khonsu's light, the light of the moon. And of course, Thoth, being the god of wisdom, being the god of knowledge, being the god of magic and so forth, he won every single time. You cannot defeat the God of wisdom in games. So after so many defeats, Khonsu just basically threw in the towel and he left with a lot of his light depleted. But this is what Thoth did. After he procured the light, he developed 5 extra days, because at that time, according to Egyptian myth, there were only 360 days in a year. So Thoth crafted 5 extra days. And as we remember, the curse was that Nut could not have any children any day of the year, right? The days of the years were 360. Thoth created 5 extra days. So Nut used those 5 extra days to give birth to children. The first was Osiris. He was born on the festival. He was born on a festival. And then after that, she gave birth to Horus the Elder. And then after that, Set, who would be the antagonist of the Osiris story. Fourth, Isis. And then fifth, Nephthys. So she gave birth to 5 children with the help of Thoth as well. Now my question is, how on earth is this similar to the birth narrative of Jesus? How on earth is this similar? Mary did not have any trouble whatsoever giving birth. She was a virgin. If we remember, the angel came down, of course, and said, this is what you're going to do. This is how it's going to be. You're going to give birth to a child. You're going to call him Emmanuel, which is God is with us. And that's found in Matthew chapter 1, verses 18, and continuing to the end of the chapter. And if you read these two accounts together, there's nothing at all alike. It is absolutely flabbergasted me to think that there are individuals trying to compare Osiris with Jesus when they're absolutely 110% different. Let's move on. Osiris was married, Jesus was single. Now, Osiris married his sister, Isis. And it can be argued that Isis was the brains of the operation. It was because of Isis that Osiris was able to be a ruler over the people. And it was Isis who restored him. So really the mental aspect, the wisdom really came from Isis, his sister. And that's not at all similar to Jesus. Jesus was single. Now there are individuals out there who believe in the Gnostic doctrines and the Gnostic Gospels of that Mary Magdalene was the wife of Jesus, which is absolutely not found in any of the scriptures that we have, any portion of the canon whatsoever. Jesus was not married. And another aspect is Jesus didn't have to rely on anybody, for anything. He was self-efficient. Everyone came to him with their problems. He had all wisdom, all knowledge. So how on earth can you compare these two in this sense as well? And this is something I want to make, a point that I want to make about all the other religions, all the myths. All of their quote-unquote gods are feeble, weak. That's all there is to it. They're weak and feeble. They often have to rely on others. What I like to compare myths to were they were the first superheroes. They were the first Superman, Batman, and so on and so forth. That's what they were. And also myths taught lessons. And in just a few minutes we're going to be looking at the lesson that we can learn, or the people can learn, from the Osiris myth. But our main point here, Jesus was single, Osiris was married. The next, Osiris taught the people music, bake bread, make beer, and agriculture. Apparently, according to the myth, the people in that day hadn't discovered agriculture. So Osiris taught them that. And Jesus, of course, was a carpenter. He worked with wood. People say he was the son of the carpenter. That was the business that he inherited from his father Joseph, if you will, his earthly father, of course, his legal father. Osiris went forth to other nations to teach civilization. So what would happen is Osiris would go on these massive campaigns to teach civilization to the world. And he would have Isis there in his place, ruling in his place, while he was going out and took care of spreading his civilized society. Jesus didn't go out to continents or different lands, so to speak, to spread. Jesus said that he was sent to the lost sheep of Israel. Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, and chapter 10, verses 5 through verse number 6. So here is another crucial difference between Osiris the myth and Jesus the historical incarnation of God. And that is their mission and their ministry. And this brings me to my next point, which is the death of Osiris. The death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. When Osiris went on to one of these campaigns, when he was gone, Set, his brother, formed a special box uniquely for Osiris. You see, Set had jealousy. He had a very jealous heart over Osiris. Now, scholars of Egyptian myth are rather divided in this area. I've read several different accounts why Set was jealous over Osiris. One in particular said that he was jealous, he was angry at Osiris because Osiris kicked him. Another account said that he was angry and jealous over Osiris because he slept with Mythis, which was Set's wife. Another instance is that he was, of course, jealous because of Osiris's fame, his glory, his rule. So whatever was the case, Set was angry, jealous over Osiris. And so what happened was he carefully calculated the dimensions of Osiris's body. And he crafted a box which was going to end up being his coffin. He crafted a box for him. And he was going to use this momentarily. When Osiris came back from his campaign of spreading civilization to the masses, Set threw a massive party to welcome him back. He put on a face. He put on a mask. Thinking, oh, he's so being joyful that he's back. And he welcomed him back. He threw a massive party. Osiris got drunk. Lots of drink, lots of fine food, lots of great, wonderful conversations. It relaxed Osiris. He got in a good mood. And when Set saw that Osiris was in a good mood, he brought out the box. He said, let the games begin, basically. So, he said, if anyone could fit inside this box, this glorious box will belong to that particular individual. So there's different people who came in and tried the box. Some were too thin, some were too fat, some were too tall, some were too short. So after a while of people trying and failing, Osiris said, hey, I'll try. Let me try. And so he got in the box, and what do you know? Because Set priorly measured the dimensions of Osiris and fitted the box to him, it was a fit. So Osiris neatly sat down into the box. And he said, hey, I fit. I want it. I can take it. And Set said this to him. He said, yes, you can have the box, and you will have it for life. And while Osiris was down in the box, he bolted the shut, he sealed it shut. So now Osiris is stuck in the box. And now what happened, him and a team of men went down and they scooted him or threw him down into the Nile River. And that was basically the end of Osiris's life. He was sealed shut in the box, and he went on the Nile River. And he floated down until he reached a tamarisk tree. Tamarisk tree, and that's it. As he got to the tamarisk tree, he sat there. And that's how he died. Now, because that tamarisk tree grew so beautiful in that particular town because of the body of a decomposed god was there. So, what happened was the mayor walked out to the tree and he saw the glories of the tree and he claimed that tree as his very own because that tree was so beautiful. It stood out from the rest. Little did he know that it was because of Osiris' dead body that the tree was glorious. So, that's the story of his death. Compare that to the story of Jesus' death. If you're a Bible-believing Christian, you'll know that's very, very different, isn't it? Jesus, of course, was betrayed, remember? Betrayed by Judas, and he was crucified on the cross. Calvary. He died. And then he was buried, and he rose 3 days later. Very, very different and very, very strange how a mythicist could try to say that Jesus' story borrowed from a myth of Osiris. So, what happened next? Well, Osiris, his wife, Isis, began to notice that Osiris was gone. So, what did she do? She searched for him, and she found clues of what happened. She found the exact city where he floated to the tamarisk tree. And so she went there in a disguise. She disguised herself, and she worked for the mayor's family. She grew especially fond over their children. She liked them quite a bit. She loved them. And she was going to show one of the children how to be immortal. So as she was going to pass the child through the fire, the wife of the mayor attacked her in that instance. And then Isis revealed herself. And as she revealed herself, the mayor and his wife, bowed the knee to Isis. And they were wondering, why on earth are you here? Well, then Isis told the story. She's looking for the body. She wants the tree, right? She wants the coffin, the tree. She wants the body of Osiris. So she procured the body of Osiris from the mayor, or from the tree as well. And she began to enlist the help of Thoth, because she wanted to copulate with the body to form a child. So she used her magic to, I believe, float around like a kite. And that's how she was able to absorb the seed within Osiris's body. The Egyptian myths are very colorful. However, Set got word of this. So what did he do? He went down and he found the body of Osiris and he cut it up into several different pieces. Several different pieces. Scattered them. Isis, with the help of Thoth, her good friend, found the pieces of Osiris. And long story short, he was quote unquote raised. In Jesus' story, there is no copulation of the dead. And there was nobody dared to chop the body of Jesus into many different pieces either. Again, I want to ask this question. How could anyone mistake these two accounts? They're very, very different. One is obviously a myth, while the other one, like I said, historical fact. Let's talk about the resurrection. This is what Bruce Metzger has to say about Osiris's resurrection. And I'm going to share with you Bruce Metzger's last student, Bart D. Ehrman, and what he has to say about the resurrection account. This is what Bruce Metzger says from the Historical and Literary Studies, Jewish, Pagan, and Christian, page number 21. This is just kind of a quote. It's questionable whether or not one should call this a resurrection. Now we'll see why Bart D. Ehrman elaborates this a little bit more. He says, but this is not a resurrection of his body, talking, of course, about Osiris's coming back. His body is still dead. He himself is down in Hades and can come back up to make an appearance on earth on occasion. This is not like Jesus coming back from the dead in his body. As I read them, Bart D. Ehrman is talking here, there is no resurrection of the body of Osiris. And that is the standard view among experts in the field. He also says, there is very thin evidence indeed for anything like a widespread pagan belief in a dying, rising God on which Jesus is modeled. Interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting, and I have to fully agree by looking at these accounts. So, there are resurrection accounts absolutely, fundamentally different. Osiris, this resurrection, could not even be called a resurrection because he himself was not even raised. Osiris became the guardian or the god of the dead when this happened. Jesus is the God of life. That's different. Jesus' resurrection and Osiris' resurrection are absolutely, fundamentally different. Osiris didn't even raise. There's absolutely no resurrection in the Osiris' account whatsoever. Anything that could be remotely similar to Jesus being raised from the dead. Like I said, Osiris is the god of dead. Jesus is the god. Jesus brings life, which is absolutely, fundamentally different. So, what is the point of Osiris's story? As you know, all myths have a point. All myths have a story. And his story is that people can rise over negativity if they desire. Osiris over Set. That's the whole point. Because at the birth of Osiris, there was negativity. There was like the impossible. How could Nut have a child? Well, if you put your mind to it, and if you enlist help with friends, then you can overcome some of the most difficult of challenges, no matter what they are. Osiris, same thing with Set and Osiris. Osiris rose to fame. Set grew envious, jealous, so Set attacked Osiris. When an individual attacks you, always remember that you can overcome them and their plans and their schemes. And I believe that is the main point of the Osiris account. There is no similarities whatsoever. One was historical and one was a mere myth. All right, so that was the presentation, of course, of Osiris and Jesus. Are they the same? No, they're not. They're nothing alike whatsoever. It's obvious that Osiris was a myth. And we have more secular scholars even agreeing too. Bart D. Ehrman, of course, is a very distinguished scholar, and he's very secular, and he's not a Christian. But he says that these two accounts bear nothing at all alike whatsoever. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you guys made it through that presentation. I hope you can use this material if you ever face a mythicist face to face. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and share this video with your friends and family. Like I said, we need 1,000 subscribers. I want 1,000 subscribers for this YouTube channel by the end of February. And I think we can do it with your help. But we need your help to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to the world. Let me ask you a question. Would you ever encounter this kind of a topic in church? Likely not. That's what we do here on this channel. We educate Christians to help them to overcome secular society. It should be taught. This type of stuff should be mentioned in church settings because secular society is filled with this stuff. But over time, the church has diminished in the knowledge of Christ. All right, thank you so much. I hope that you like and support this video. God bless you. See you later.